we'll go into the hashtag Ask F1FS segment of the podcast. And for those of you who don't know, maybe you're listening for the first time because of a certain YouTube influencer joining us, we regularly do questions on the podcast. It is a podcast for everybody to get involved in. So the hashtag Ask F1FS on Twitter, use that and we'll get your questions. We ask them every week. Same, join the Discord. We have a podcast channel and also Instagram, YouTube, comments, everywhere else. Just ask a question. We'll see it and we'll pick them up. This one comes from Robert Alex, and he asked, out of the 5 Red Bull juniors in F2 this year, which one do you think will perform the best and get a promotion to F1 in 2023? Maybe even 2 of them, ? Josh, there's a few drivers. Are we going to kick 2 people out of AlphaTauri?
Well, that depends. Like, you got to remember, it's not just AlphaTauri drivers. We've got to be mindful here. It's Red Bull too. Like, if Checo drowns this year, maybe Marco will take a punt on Tsunoda to go up to AlphaTauri. Gaz will get pissed and go somewhere else.
Where though?
Vacancy. I don't know. Friggin' like maybe I'll just like remember the start of 2020, for example. No one thought Checo was going to Red Bull the next year, so you never know. Stuff may come up. Yeah. Like, it's tricky. It's so damn tricky. We got how many we got? We got 4 legitimate candidates from that Red Bull Academy to get into F1 next year. Yuri, Liam, Dennis, Jahan. Who will perform the best this year? I'd say it's between Yuri and Liam. But who will finish higher? Jahan.
I guess just to jump in on this, it's not the question of who do you think will, got to perform the best, but who do you think will get the promotion more specifically? You have to go for one of those.
Yeah. So who will get the promotion? Whoever out of Liam or Yuri finishes higher. I don't know who that's going to be, frankly. But yeah. To do the reverse jinx, I'm going to say it's going to be Yuri Vips.
No commentators here. Flores, Carlin and it's a spec series, isn't it? Formula 2, but Carlin and Hightech are relatively close in performance, maybe not in luck. Do you agree that it's between those 2?
Yeah, I do, and I think Liam is gonna do it also because. I don't know if it's going to change, but Yuri Vips is the most unlucky driver on the grid, like we already determined. So, but the interesting part is they're both real Red Bull juniors, Red Bull boys. You know, they've been in the academy since 2018, 2019. So you'd say Helmut Marko would like them equally, and just like Josh said, the one that performs better will get the seat. It might be as easy as that. I haven't really heard Marco talk a lot about Liam as much as Vips. He's really impressed with Yuri.
He's very, very high in Yuri. I mean, I think from what I heard internally, Marco was very hard on Liam initially, but he's starting to come around. That's Marco's damn cauldron for you. He's just totally just as hard as it gets. He's tough as nails. And some people say, oh, that's draconian and antiquated. The reality is, though, how many Red Bull alumni are on that Formula One grid? Like, you have a look at that Formula One grid and you see how many have been through their academy. It's just like, okay, right. It works. It's a bit harsh, exactly, but it works.
Well, look at our current champion, right?
Yeah. So,
Flores, are you going to go for one name there that you could give? Are you going to think
it's For me, it's easy. For me, it's going to be Liam Lawson. Also, Hauger is sorry for jinxing it.
National pride, mate.
No, for sure. And Hauger is still a rookie, so he can wait a year. And it's going to be weird. What's going to happen to after this season? Like, let's say Liam Lawson goes to AlphaTauri. Vips, where's he going to go? Because he's not going to do another year of F2. De Ruvela's not going to do another year of F2. where are those guys going to go? I have no clue.
Where could be an easy answer, wouldn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
Formula E.
I just don't see it. Vips maybe giving Super Formula another go. Don't think so.
There is a breeding ground for Formula E in Formula 2 right now. I think some of those drivers, I mean, Tictum's not exactly in the top Formula E team right now, but I think it would be a really good Formula E driver from his aggression. So it's an easy out. Hopefully that answers your question, Robert. It's going to be fascinating to watch as the year unfolds, and we'll see if Prema are going to be pegged back a little bit with their lineup, which would make it even more exciting. We'll move on. Dan Castle has a question. I like this question as well. Would you introduce a limit on the number of seasons a driver can do in F2 and presumably F3? And he's got maybe 4 or 5 to stop the likes of Misani staying around forever. I thought 4 or 5 was actually quite generous, Josh. Would you have a limit of maybe 2, 3 years?
Oh, no, did you say 4? I think 4 is fair, or anything more than 4. What are you even doing at that point? Spending €3 million a year in a junior series, which is designed to be the next stepping stone to Formula One. What are you doing there after 4 years? In terms of, your first year, you're not expected to win anything. Second year is when you're expected to start challenging. Third year is acceptable. Fourth year is like, okay, last chance. Your fifth year is just like, okay, you're taking the piss. So that's why I would say 4 years is sort of, if there was a limit, I'll put it that way.
Flores?
I don't think we need like a limit. But what is an interesting idea, and I don't know actually if it was me or was Alessio Young from 2 podcasts ago. We talked a little bit about this, and I thought it was an idea to get like an incremental rise in super license points. So you have to have 5 or 10 super license points to go from F4 to F3, and in that way you can weed out like the terrible drivers. And if you're a good driver and for some reason you want to stay 5 seasons in F2, I don't know why you would spend 15 million in 5 years, but sure, then go ahead. But that'll weed out like the worst drivers.
Problem is though, is that how many of those drivers will be able to afford F2? Because it's €3 million a year. Like we have drivers in there right now that could barely afford a full season. They can't actually. So it's already bad enough based on no sort of qualification system, and then you put something on, and those drivers would have to be good ones. And like with the greatest of respect, the Deleddas, the Galals, the Nissanis, they're keeping some of these teams alive for better or for worse. And ultimately, they're not going to harm the title battle. The title battle is always going to go to the ones that are talented enough, and they generally get it in their second or third year, sometimes their first. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult one. If GP2, yeesh. If F2 seasons cost €1 million a year, maybe you could do that. Not at €3 million a year. Not in the current climate. You can't do that. It just it just wouldn't work.
It always comes back down to the cost, be it the amount of money people have or the cost of the series. I think universally condemn the current amount of money needed to enter the sport, which is creating the situation where you need these drivers to support better drivers. The Venn diagram, as you say, Josh, of the two with rich and talented is quite slim. But you mentioned GP2, which is great because you keep giving me these segues. Emerald Delagster has asked this question to say, give us a brief comment. I'll just go with you on this one, Josh, on how you feel about Formula 2's cultural impact in motorsports today and how it has progressed from its GP2 days.
Cultural impact.
Take from that what you will. Answer it however you like.
I mean... yeah, I'm not exactly sure where they're coming from here. Maybe it's just my brain going numb.
Well, I was going to be from my side, because I said to this Flores before the podcast that the cultural impact, my interest in Formula 2 has peaked dramatically recently with the rebranding, how it's changed social media basically compared to the GP2 days.
And and that came with the acquisition of F1 from Liberty Media, and we saw what they did with F1, and that bled into F2. So yeah, I mean with GP2, I mean back in like 06, 07, in those early days, the only thing that made GP2 with the damn too much back in those days was Lewis Hamilton tearing the damn series to pieces. Otherwise, you watch that series because you were a geek, basically. But nowadays, they've got their own sort of doco series now with F2. There's more emphasis on it, especially with DTS having a bit of say in that. There is more interest in it nowadays, for sure. That's irrefutable. It is a bit of a difficult one, changing culture though. Like, yeah, to be honest, I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm not sure where that question's coming from, but if it comes down to comparing the yesteryear to nowadays, it's night and day. Put it that way, for the better.
I would highly agree. This is a question for both of you then, and we'll try and rattle through them because, as ever, a lot of interest, a lot of questions. Thank you so much, and sorry for those of you who don't get your answer. Please keep asking. I'm sure we'll get round as the year goes by. Cam Seal, again on Instagram, which rookie will rank highest in the standings this season? Or maybe rank them in order, because I doubt any will beat Hauger. Floris, you've had a chance to think about this one, so I'm going to go to you first, and then Josh afterwards.
Yeah, I did, and we already talked about this a little bit, and I think it's going to be Hauger. Also, yeah, for the reason he's, of course, in a Prema, he did well, of course, last year in F3, and also because the rookie crop is good, but it's not Piastri-like, so they all have like kind of a chance. But I think he's most talented of the guys, and I think the second rookie is probably going to be Doohan and Sargent, and then you have Novalek. But I think he has the most chance to finish even high up in the championship. Not take it; it's not it's his rookie year, but yeah.
Mr. Revell?
Yeah, I was thinking of Doohan for a moment, and then it's like, oh no, mate, Hauger would do better. Oh no, Sargent would do better. Oh no, Doohan's slipping down the order now. One thing for sure, Callum Williams is not going to figure into it in any slight. Nor will that I can't say the word, but Cordial. So it'll come down toward Doohan, Sargent, and Hauger. More specifically, Hauger and Sargent. It's hard to ignore that Prema outfit, isn't it? Like, I mean, neither of us think that Hauger is going to light the world on fire, but it's as good a team as you're going to get. So, good team versus the gusto that you would get out of Sargent. Which one will get it? I'd say Sargent, actually. So just by a whisker. I mean, we're talking about 5th or 6th in the standings. Hauger just below.
Bold predictions. Great. I love this year compared to recent years that we just don't think Prema will run away with it. There's about 10 drivers. We said this time last year. About 10 drivers really in with a shot, if not of the championship, but of vice champion. So
it's lovely having a racing series like that, where there's multiple different drivers and with a shot.
Yeah.
Right? Don't ever get that in F1.
So Josh, do you then like IndyCar? What's your stance on IndyCar?
I'm a racing fan, therefore I love it.
Yeah.
It's so damn good. It's so damn good. Anyone that watches it it's just so damn good.
And what are your thoughts on Scotty?
I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting him to hold off the win that well, and especially against Palou, who you know, is just fantastic as well. And you know, I remember just quickly here. I remember people was calling for him to be looked at for a Formula One seat after winning IndyCar. It's like, yeah, well, I mean, I remember I was over in Japan watching the Super Formula final. Kid was rapid. Like, was that his first or second season in Super Formula? And he only lost the title because of a mechanical failure. He's always been good. Like, so yeah, I think with Scotty though, I always thought he was going to take a year to acclimatize and then he'd get there in a second one. And yeah, like I didn't expect him to do as well as he did in the first round, but he's arrived and it's great to see. And further adding to the depth of talent in IndyCar. And of course, now we've had the debut of Kyle Kirkwood and the biggest chin in the world, Devlin DeFrancesco. I'm still so sour that Devlin got in ahead of Kyle for Andretti, because imagine that Andretti lineup. Kyle Kirkwood, Romain Grosjean, Colton Herta, and Alexander Rossi. The four horsemen of the Indy-pocalypse. Like that would be a lineup for the ages.
Right, Josh, we're going to put you on the spot now with final questions. Again, we have had so many that I want to make sure as many get answered as possible. So I was going to say one-word answers, but you can go with, let's say, under 10 seconds or so with these. So Elizabeth Harmon, and this is a point where I completely butcher some names, but I think we'll start okay. Elizabeth Harmon has asked, what's your favorite non-four wheels racing series?
Favorite non-four wheels racing series? MotoGP.
Nice and simple. Thijs, Thijs, Thijs. If you could add one more team to the grid, who would it be? And let's go with Formula 2 grid.
Oh, you must say Formula 1. Formula 2 grid. To hell with it, Penske.
Great. Well, let's go for Formula 1 as well while we're here.
Yeah, well, I was going to say Penske because I mean, it's just not the thing with me is that Penske is like it is a faultless organization. Like, I mean, the way that Roger runs it, would you not want that proficiency and that success on the Formula 1 grid? And how he did it for a little bit back in the 70s, and he won back then. So let's see him do it proper with a proper team behind him and a fleet full of good drivers.
I'll say it's more than 10 seconds, but had to do 2 series, so I'll let you over it. Armini de Paul has asked, do you eat kiwis? And I presume he means
I know what you mean. No.
No, he doesn't.
No.
Casey has asked Lawson WDC. Let's assume that's not going to be him going for the F2 championship this year, but in the future?
Maybe. Depends.
Ad Yorhausen, best F2 driver ever who isn't/wasn't in an F1 driver academy.
Oh, jeez. That wasn't in an F1.
It's a good question.
Yeah. I'm thinking down the list of drivers. Oh my God. Like the only one that's coming to mind right now that wasn't in an academy is like Fabio Lima.
Yeah, I was thinking of him too.
We'll go with Fabio Lima. How about that?
Sorted. Anya Militic has asked the best pairing on the F2 grid this year.
Best pairing on the F2 grid this year. Oh, jeez. Oh, my gosh. Damn. It's not biased, but I'll go with Liam and Logan.
Yeah. I don't disagree. It's a strong pairing. We had one from Daniel Philpott, which I think Cam has already answered or had the question asked. asking about the best rookie in F2 this year. But I think for the highest position. But do you want to say the best if they were on even footing? Would you have the same answer?
Yeah, I'd probably say Logan for that as well.
Yeah, good. Marco Ocon, Esteban's milkman, is that right, Flores? Is that what we said he was? Will
still blocked.
Will Marino Sato achieve a podium?
No.
Nice and simple. Currently hyping Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Interesting name. Deledda or Samaia?
Samaia. Samaia gets so much dirt, and whether that's because he was the lowest scoring driver after the year of the Ragunathon, or if it was because the Brazilian F3 team that he was with back in his Brazilian F3 days was renowned for openly cheating. It doesn't warrant him getting the dirt that he does, because he's not brilliant, no way, but he's not bad either. He's competent, shall we say.
Very fair.
Deledda wasn't. So, yeah, Samaia, yeah, hands down.
Canadian F1 fan 951 wants to know who do you think is the next Canadian driver we'll see in F2?
Next Canadian F2 driver.
I think got F2 specifically, yeah.
Yeah. Help me out. Help me out here, Flores. Who are the upcoming ones? They're escaping my mind.
I can only think about Nick Gilks and Megan Gilks.
And they're not going to reach it. We both know.
No.
Who was that douchebag? And what was it? F3 Euro that got in a real hiff in Catalonia and stopped in the middle of the track? Giancarlo someone or other. Pull him out of retirement. I can't think of anyone, because I can't think of any junior drivers right now in the pipelines.
No, we'll skip on past them.
Yeah,
well,
none are coming to me right now.
Megan Gilks, official. Where's Mansbridge asked? Who would you say is the worst / least talented driver you've ever seen let loose on a racetrack? And have you done a video about them?
The worst driver I have ever seen on a racetrack. Well, if we're talking about of all freaking time in any circumstance, go down to a local club day and just see some of these sort of 40, 50-year-olds try and harpoon their bloody Porsche around and get around in like 30 seconds slower on the club track than what a pro would do.
Let's say somebody people would have heard of aside from that. In fact, let's go more specific, and let's say somebody who's made it to GP2 or Formula 2.
Oh, far out. I'm having to catalog through all these damn drivers. Carmen Jorda.
Wow. Okay. Jack wants to know, hey, Josh, who do you think will be the biggest shock this season in F2? And that could be the biggest over or underachiever.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's... Who will be the biggest underachiever? Now I have to think, okay, who's going to surprise me? I probably would say Novalak.
Is that over or under?
Sort of overachieving, maybe. You know?
Okay, good shout.
I'm not saying he'll do mega good. He'll do better than what some may think he'll do.
Okay, that's a good answer. We've got Julian, Max, and Viral all asked the same question. But if you've skipped ahead to this part of the podcast, I understand. I want to see your name because we know what the answer is. Who's going to be the F2 champion?
Amaury Cordial.
You have to listen back now, guys, until we got that part.
Seriously, skip till the end. You missed me ranting on Marino Sato and all that stuff. Okay, like I don't know whether to tell you guys to just go back and listen, but okay. More power to the people. Teo Porcher will be the champion.
Easily as well if you listen to it. And the final question from quite a handsome user here, Jim Kimberley, wants to know, what's the best podcast you've been a guest on?
Huh.
You're setting us up to fail, man. What are you doing?
I'm just about to cut this bit out.
Best podcast I've ever been on. I can't remember almost all of the ones I've been on. So what's the name of this one? That's
just say the sentence. Just say the sentence, Josh.
Oh, okay. My favorite meeting is the Zoom meeting podcast. Sweet. F1 feeder series represent. If you guys haven't subbed to this, do subscribe. To everything here, their Facebook account, if there are any boomers out there, Twitter, Insta, all of them, and to this YouTube channel as well. You got to do that. You know, like I can't segue into the outro because we're not quite there yet. I can't do the whole "don't be a manus" thing and then continue the video.
We're fine. We're good. That's enough for me. It's exactly the answer we hoped for, not necessarily expected, but that is all the time we've got for. And wow, we went long on this one. Josh, you clearly have opinions, and I'd love to hear them again later in the year as the season goes on. But for the moment, like Josh said, please like, subscribe, comment, all the usual stuff on both YouTube, on all the social medias, Twitter. Look underneath if you're watching. If you're listening, click on the show notes and have a look at them there. You obviously know where to find Josh already, and you'll find our Twitters and everything else you need to know. But for the moment, that's the F2 preview done with Josh Revell, Floris, Josh, and everybody still listening at this point. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again next week.